Okay, so this is a little tutorial on how to play Living After Midnight, Judas Priest. So let's try and make sure I'm keeping the guitar in frame for this. So it's not the world's most complicated of songs. Sorry if the camera angle's a little wonky for this. So it starts with the chorus, and that's pretty basic. It is just an E power chord going down to a D, so it's the 7th and the 9th frets on your 4th and 5th string. Just go down 2 frets, 5th and 7th. Then you got your A power chords, which I'm playing up here. You can do it further down the neck, but I think it's easier to play it up here. So it's 5 and 7 on your 5th and 6th strings. And then you got your B power chord up here. So it's E, D, A, B, E, A, D, A. So it basically just goes around following the chorus. Nothing too complicated about it. So the part that comes up next for the verse, that is a little bit more tricky. You've got to bear in mind with this song that obviously there's 2 guitar players in Judas Priest, so there's parts of the song where they're basically just doubling up and playing the same thing. There's other bits where they're playing slightly different variations. So you've got the in the verse section, you got this where he's basically just it's playing 8th notes on the low E, and you're really wanting to damp that a little bit just to try and get a more bassy sound from it. And you just got this G that's coming in. It's coming in on the end of the 4, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You can hear the timing of it in the song, but it's just slightly ahead of the beginning of the bar. Now there's actually another guitar part that's going on underneath this, which is a high. Well, it's an E chord, but it's played higher up. So it's up here at the 7th and the 9th fret, and it's a syncopated beat, so it's on the off beat. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so it's one of these songs where when you're playing it, if you're playing it as one guitar. With one guitar, then you need to make sort of decisions about which parts you're going to play. You can sort of double it, so you can do a kind of so it's a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 3 and 4 and or 1, depending which part of the E chord you want to hit. If you find that too difficult, the easiest thing in my opinion is just stick to the basic key. So just that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just stick with that basic low E. But if you want to include it, or if you're playing in a band with 2 guitars, then certainly you can add in that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it's just one of those little extra kind of elements that adds to the song. So those parts basically remain the same through the verses and the chorus sections. There isn't really anything very different. You get a bridge part, which is before the solo, when it goes to A. Okay, and that's basically playing the open A down here. Okay, and then it's going into an inversion chord there. Okay, so that's... So you're going into a D inversion, because you've got an F sharp here, an A here and a D here, so it's an inverted D chord. So it's going A. So if you're not familiar with that, so I'm just playing the A, I'm just barring the second fret, so I'm not playing the top string, I'm just playing the A, D, G and B strings. And then the D inversion, it's your first finger here on your third fret on your second string. Your third finger is here on your fourth fret on your fourth string, and the third string is open. So you've just got... Just trying to keep the camera, the guitar still rather. The camera's not a problem, it's the guitar that's going everywhere. But anyway, hopefully you can see that. Okay, so and you're only playing that on these three strings here, just your fourth, third, and second strings. So you got that. That section, and then it goes back onto this low E again. You just got that low E, and then going up to a G power chord here. I didn't mention that during the verse section, so it's an E and a G. That's better. Power chord on that. So this is basically the bridge section. You got the A, and that just repeats. I think it's 4 times, however many it does. And then the end of that section, you go to the, I guess, I don't know, the sort of pre-solo section, I suppose you can call it, which is all it really is just a B power chord, which I'm playing here, and then it goes up to a D power chord here, and then back to the B again. So it's your second and fourth frets on your fifth and fourth strings, going up to your fifth and your seventh frets on the same strings, and then back down again to your second and fourth. So it's just that. And that's all night long. Obviously, Rob Halford sings it better than that, but you get the general idea. And then we're into the solo. Okay, so nothing in this song is particularly complicated, so I wouldn't say it's a song particularly for advanced guitar players. But that's fine, because the best songs don't have to be. So the solo is mainly just built around the E minor pentatonic scale. So I'm assuming you know that one. If you don't and you want to know more about it, contact me for my online guitar courses. But anyway, that is the E minor pentatonic scale. I'm going to assume for the purposes of this that you're familiar with that. So the first part of it is... Okay, now it actually goes to a note outside the pentatonic, because it actually goes into a F sharp note there. So we're bending up from the 14th fret. So we're bending, doing the whole tone bend, and then a bend release, and then going back down to the 12th fret. So it's bending up from the 14th, a tone, twice, bend release, and then we're going 14, 12, 14 on the, this is on the 4th string now. And then we go to that 11th fret on the 3rd string. Alright, so it's bend up, 14th fret, 3rd string, bend up one tone, twice, bend release, down to the 12th fret, 14th on the 4th string, 12, 14. So 14, 12, 14, and then 11 over here. Then you're going down to 9th position. That's to say your first finger's on your 9th fret. And then it's a bend. And you get like a little pinch harmonic on it, which is somewhere around there. About there, maybe. So again, it's a bend. And then you're going 11, 9, 11th fret on your 4th string, up to your 9th fret on the 3rd. Excuse me. And then it goes back up here to the 14th fret, and we more or less repeat the first part of the solo again. First part of it, and then down to the 14th fret here, but then he just stays on the 14th and 12th frets here. So okay, and then you need a guitar with 22 frets to play this next bit, because you're sliding up to the 22nd fret on the 2nd string. And then as you do it, when you get there, you're then going to bend up a tone. So you're going, and then you're hitting the 22nd fret on the 1st string. So it's one of those ones where you've got to kind of stretch a little bit to get to it, but it's worth it if you can. So he does a little kind of slide up the string. That means it's just kind of extra sauce if you can get it. If you don't, doesn't matter. So you're bending up from your 22nd fret, a tone, hitting your 22nd fret on your 1st string, doing a bend release back down again, down to your 20th fret, back to your 22nd, and bending up, and then you've got to get a bit of vibrato on it as well, which I'm not really getting on this because I need a bit more gain, but this is basically just a rhythm channel. Really, for the solo, you want to have a boost channel just to give yourself a bit more gain for those sustained notes. So I'll just go through the whole of that solo section slowly. So it's that's basically it for the solo. It's not a hugely complicated one, but it's an effective one. And after that, we go back into the verse section. So you're back into that. Or if you want to add in the high E chord. Through another verse, and then back into the chorus. And you just repeat the chorus, and then the studio track, it just fades out basically from the chorus section. So that's it. It's not a complicated song, but it's a classic, and hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you found it useful. If you did, please remember to hit like and subscribe so you can be notified about more videos. And if you're interested in online guitar lessons or guitar courses, which will be coming soon, then please contact me on the email address provided. Okay, have a good one.